Hello everyone and welcome to the video interview session of ET Auto. This is Shruti Mishra and joining us today is Mr. Vineet Sahni, Group CEO of Lumax Jain Group. Mr. Sahni is a veteran in Indian automotive industry with over 3 decades of experience. In today's session with ET Auto, he will be sharing his insights on how the Indian auto component players are combating the COVID crisis, their sustainability measures, and how the Lumax Group is gearing up for the future. Hello, Mr. Sahani. A warm welcome to the show.
Hi, Shruti.
How this pandemic and the subsequent lockdown period impacted your sales, supply, and production? And soon after the relaxation, what is the current situation of Lumax products in the market?
Sure, a very relevant question, Shruti. And just to let you know, you said more than 3 decades of experience, and I want to tell you that it is first time ever that I saw zero revenue in any organization. So like all other organizations, in India, in April we were just zero revenue first time, and May also we did around 3 to 5% of our pre-COVID revenue. So first 2 months, April and May, have been unprecedented. Of course, that brought in a lot of effort on the organization to keep afloat, keep sustaining, and we rediscovered ourselves that what else can be done. And we are fortunate that the team in Lumax could come with solutions and we overcame those problems. Now, I think after the unlock that has come in the month of July, we will be around 45% of our pre-COVID revenue. So June has been around 20% and now around 45%. And August, we see around 70% of pre-COVID revenue as per the indications received from our customer. So it's like, I would still say that if this happens, it will be a V-shaped recovery, which is very interesting, though it has its own challenges because it's like restarting the business again, because the plants were shut, manpower had moved out. But fortunately, all our plants, like we have 29 locations in India, all are open and ready to produce as per the MHA guideline of safety of people. Yeah.
So post this lockdown, how have you been managing your labor and factory setup, considering that Lumax is a leading supplier of automotive lighting currently in the country? So how are you managing your production process at this tough times?
So again, a very relevant question. I would like to divide it into two parts. For both pre-lockdown and post-lockdown period, one single most important thing that remained in our mind of Lumax management was people. That was one single most important subject. And when I say people, it encompasses many things like communication across the company. What is happening? Because there was a lot of insecurities coming in, lot of questions in the mind of people, and therefore communication played a very important role. Point number one. Second came the safety. We are communicating about their safety, their own safety, the safety of their family, and how to remain safe in pre-COVID and post-COVID environment, both, right? And third remained how to keep the passion alive and the motivation alive to overcome the current situation, how to remove that fear factor and still work in post-COVID condition. Now, this is very typical condition where that the cases are rising on one end, and on the other end, the requirement of customer is also rising. So you need more people, and that there is more fear of getting COVID. At this time, people management and their mind management, their motivation is the key. And I think we have been very successful in managing that. And just to give you an indicator of how we say that, all our plants are properly equipped of safety guidelines. It's much more than prescribed in terms of PPE, in terms of sanitization, in terms of social distancing. We have done a re-layout of our plants to ensure social distancing norms are followed. And I think we are the only one organization. We have created our own quarantine area within the company, which is fully equipped with oxygen cylinders, oximeters, and everything. It is around 7 bed that just in case we have somebody who suffers with COVID and it takes time for the hospital to adopt that person. We have our own facility to support a person or an employee of Lumax. So that has given a lot of confidence to people that yes, here is a management who is ensuring that we are safe in the organization. So that is keeping us going.
So, talking about your customer base, at this time we are talking very much about many ground level changes that's going to come up in the post COVID era. So, as per you, have you seen any significant changes in the requirements of your customers for the for your upcoming orders or for any kind of products that will be developed in the post-COVID era?
So in changes, we see that rural market related products are finding more traction. For example, bikes which are more related to rural market, the cars which are smaller in nature, that is A and B segment, rather than the luxury segment. So they are finding more traction in the market currently. And also second is that customer today is optimistic that demand will come up. So it's easier said that we were like 20% of pre-COVID last month and now we are 45. It's very difficult to ramp up in manufacturing because you need manpower, and we all know that manpower has gone back and you have to make an arrangement because skill sets have changed, because the skilled people have gone. So you have to still maintain the right quality and deliver on time. So those are the challenges that we are facing, but that's fine. As long as the growth is coming in, you try to manage it out. But yes, to answer your question, the traction is more towards the rural oriented product as of now. The hope, I would say, is that during the festival season, I think the market should be doing very well, and that's the hope we are working on.
All right. Now, at a time when the complete supply chain of the automotive industry is following the cash conservation mantra, so have you made any significant changes in your supplier base in order to make your manufacturing process more cost effective?
Shruti, actually, no. We have retained all our suppliers. We have not gone for any consolidation. We have not deleted any suppliers. In fact, we have been communicating very effectively with our supplier base that you will not be affected. Our team is working with them so that we sustain them also, their cash flows also, right? As our customer is supporting us also. So the whole supply chain is supporting each other so that it continues to remain intact. This is on the survival part. On the cost and cash part, yes. For example, we have renegotiated many LC terms or interest terms or the logistic costs. Those negotiations have happened, which is normal to protect the cash flow in the organization. And so I would say that the processes have been improved, but supply chain has not been changed.
Now, talking about the Indian auto lighting market, very little is known about the trends that influences this segment of the automotive industry. So, how do you describe the Indian auto lighting market in terms of technology?
I love this market. First of all, that's why I am into it. But honestly, this is an intriguing market, as you rightly said. And why I say that is, it's like eyes of human being. Some we describe as eye, and I say everything. So the light of the car say everything about the car, what kind of car that is. We also call it the jewel. The lighting are the jewel, right? It's a jewelry piece. So it gets a lot of importance. And why I call it a market which never dies is because with every model the lights change. Whether it is a minor model change or it is a full model change, the lights change because lights are giving character to the automobile. Sometimes the buying decision of consumer is decided by the lights, the lighting. And that's why you see the shift moving from halogen to LED. And within LED, you start seeing various features like daytime running lights, DRL, and very catchy features that you see nowadays in the fog lamp or the headlamp or a tail lamp. And so much so that, children, young children, they start recognizing cars by seeing the lights. They can tell you the model after seeing the light while they're sitting the car driving behind the other automobile. So it is a very, very significant feature. And in technology, we see a lot of electronics coming into lighting. We also see lighting becoming more intelligent. That means, you with the change from evening to night, the headlamps will become auto on, and various, they will welcome you as you open the car. So there are so many intelligent features which are coming into the lighting space, and which is making it more and more interesting. And that is what is consumer wanting to.
So, Mr. Sahni, as you mentioned, that going forth, we will see more of electronics in the lighting, in the auto lighting industry. Now, how this kind of trend is going to impact, or it's going to get influenced by the current tussle which we are facing with the Chinese imports, because majority of the electronics we are importing, we are still dependent on the Chinese market. So how do you see that is impacting the future prospects of the Indian auto lighting market?
Yeah, I think it's I think very, very relevant question, Shruti, because this is on everybody's mind. Before I answer this question, I want to give you certain background. If you need to change anything in auto industry, anything, right? It is at least 1 year to 2 year process. Keep in mind, because it needs all approvals, it needs quality certification. The vehicle will have to run the endurance of 100,000 kilometers. It will go to the lab for certain. So it's a 1 to 2 year process. Now that has to be understood. Second important fact is, we do nothing in electronics in India. Sorry to say, but it's nothing,
Yeah,
near
right.
nothing. Everything, most of it gets imported through various countries in the world. And this is something where, as a country, we need to do lot of work, less of talking. We need to do a lot of work. And that, when we talk about self-reliance in the country, I think we need to start making at least the components of electronics. We are importing everything.
Absolutely.
And also, third fact, when we say we are sourcing from, example, a country like China, it's for a reason, because it's our market is a cost sensitive market. Automobile is a cost sensitive market. And it's for a reason that things come from there. And if we need to, for example, reduce that sourcing, then are we willing to accept the increase in cost in the product, or is any other country offering is better pricing? That is still not decided. So it will be a very holistic decision which will govern this sourcing going in future. And again, I would say it is easier said than done. Lot of work need to be done together with the government and private sector to bring this technology in the country. Yeah.
So currently, how Lumax is bifurcating its auto lighting business between OEM and aftermarkets, and what kind of challenges are we seeing, witnessing on the aftermarket side?
So Lumax is more focused on OEM business, but we do a bit of aftermarket also. So aftermarket demand is picking up, but aftermarket will have another challenge of liquidity, because at this point of time, everybody is protecting the cash flow. So in earlier times, we could push orders to meet the market demand in aftermarket, and still give credit to people, so that money will come with the confidence. But today, we are protecting our cash flow, and the buyer is protecting his cash. So while there is a demand, only those people are getting served who have the liquidity at hand. So if there is a constraint in supply, it is because of liquidity in aftermarket. So that's the difference between OEM and aftermarket at this point.
All right.
And also in aftermarket, what has happened is, because of pandemic, many unorganized players are not so active today, because of they could not survive so well into this pandemic situation. So that is creating more demand for organized players.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, talking about the outlook of the industry, as per you, what are the opportunities and technologies you see emerging and playing a significant role in industry's comeback?
See, on the technology front, I would say the IT, like virtual showrooms have come up for OEMs. Like for the first time, consumer is putting an order on the net for a product like a car. That has also started happening. So I think the way consumer would buy in future would change, and that will be a very significant change that would come. Second important point is that the social distancing in the car, right? Because the sharing model could get affected. When, if you recall, in the past we used to talk on connected cars, sharing, and all that. Now sharing part will definitely change because of COVID condition in pandemic. Because in the mindset, people now don't want to share. They feel that it could infect them, and therefore the need for smaller cars or own conveyance so that they feel safe in the car, so or a bike. So this change is happening, and it is not so much visible now, but if the current condition of COVID continues, it will go deeper and deeper in our psyche, that you can't share things with people. There has to be social distancing, and that's going to impact the automotive market.
So, any timeline that you want to put forth for the revival prospects of Indian automotive market?
Being optimistic in nature, honestly, I see already a revival, and I see a pre-COVID condition coming during festival times. Honestly, I mean, the way things are going, because I think people have realized that economic conditions will not suffer. They have understood that we have to compromise and strike a balance. I think that is visible. People may not speak about it, but it is visible. And with that, I think during Diwali, I think we should see a pre-COVID condition. That's what I feel.
And lastly, Mr. Sahni, what's going to be the immediate priorities of Lumax Group for this fiscal?
People, just people. Immediate priority is we have to retain the right people, right set of people. We have to keep them motivated, and they will bring the turnaround required. So priority remains the same. It's people, people, people. Everything else will happen.
And anything major that you have planned in your business plan in terms of any changes in investment plans or anything major in the collaboration terms?
Yeah, do every rupee is being monitored. We have deferred certain capex. We are continuing with very, top most essentials, only the essentials part of it.
Right.
All of us have taken salary cuts substantial to support the organization, which is normal, and it is happily done. It's not a burden, but if things improve, we will roll it back as well. That's our commitment to people. Just to be proactive as a management, and cash flow is being monitored very strictly amongst all of us. Capacity utilization, which is the key in lighting, because it's a highly capital intensive business. So we are monitoring that, how to monitor the capex, the capacity utilization of the company. So these are the parameters that we are monitoring on day-to-day basis, which is, I think, normal. Every company would be doing that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Sahni, for sharing your insights with ET Auto.